that you're joining us today. And a little bit about Compassionate Atlanta. I think some of you are new to Compassionate Atlanta. We are a grassroots movement. We're part of a global movement that's been around since 2008. And here in Atlanta, we've been around for the last 6 years. What we're really excited about is that even during this time of great uncomfortableness and really a tough time, we see a lot of compassion. And so, I don't know what, so not communism, but compassion. So what we're doing is we're really raising the voice of compassion throughout our communities, our neighborhoods. For example, right now we have a Compassionate Ambassador program with teens where they do good in their community. We do a lot of training, and Lauren is one of our partners with Perspectives Counseling Center, but she has a lot of, we're so glad to provide some tips, some ways to get through difficult times. And a lot of what I love about some of the things that Lauren does, although I'm excited to hear all the things we're going to hear today, is emotion regulation. And I don't know how much you're talking about that today, Lauren, but this is what we do for adults, is we talk about taking 3 breaths, or what do you need to get to the next few moments. And I think having tools in your bucket for what you can do with your kids when you're at home all the time, when school isn't happening or camp isn't happening, is really our lifeline. And so my heart goes out to all parents with kids at all different ages in a very, very different world. So Lauren, I'm really grateful that you partner with Compassionate Atlanta and that you're sharing some of our wisdom.
Yeah. Well, I love Compassionate Atlanta's mission and everybody involved and connected with Compassionate Atlanta. It's just a real authentic, meaningful group making a positive impact in the world. So really glad to be here and just to be connected in general. So thanks. All right. So, hi, Katie.
Good afternoon. Hi. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. We're good. How old are your kiddos?
I just have one. He's 4.
Okay. All right, great. So, so Katie, my contact information is in the chat bar, and the only thing that I had shared was I really want this to be really functional for all of you to take home something, because this is, I mean, I know, like, you know, air quotes, everybody's saying like this is an unprecedented time, and we know that we're living in it, right? As parents, we've never, you know, usually when kids are, you know, I mean, every family has their own timeline when kids are out of the house, and, you know, in daycare, in preschool programs. But this is just, it's a lot of at home with kids. And it's a very different time for parents, and it's challenging. Oh, hello. Okay. Good to see you. So,
Hi.
does anybody else want to say hello or check in before I just start chatting? We're good? Okay. All right.
Yaba, Lauren. Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for telling me who you were. So if anybody has questions or wants to bring something up, I am fine to like indicate that you have a question and interrupt me. I'm good with that. This is my sign for flexible, and I welcome you to adopt this little sign also. It's not American Sign Language, but it really works. And you know, after this call tonight, one thing you guys can do when you're talking with your kids, your family, you can say, I was on a coaching call. It's like, you know, mom or dad had school today, and I learned some things. And this means being flexible. See how flexible means that our finger bends. And so we all have to practice being flexible, especially when we're home so much. And that's just one, well, we can talk more about being flexible, but flexible is expected in families. And it's something that we need to teach our kids. And a great way to teach our children is to model. So by us being flexible, you know, Johnny says he really wants to have mac and cheese for dinner, but you are planning on making hamburgers. You can, and if you decide you are going to make the mac and cheese, you can say, Mommy can be flexible. I'll be flexible. We'll have mac and cheese tonight. I'll make the burgers tomorrow night. So we're demonstrating how we do this. But before we get into more tools, I just wanted to do a check-in. Let's all ground ourselves. If you can, put your feet on the ground. Feel whatever piece of furniture you're sitting on with, you know, your bottom, your lower back might be in contact with the back of a chair or a couch. You might be sitting on the floor. And just feel your body for a minute. I like to put my hand on my heart because it helps connect me in the present moment. You don't have to put your hand on your heart, but also when I do this with the kids and families I work with, I like them to see how I'm connecting. Again, I'm a role model. I don't force anyone to put their hand on their heart, but by you doing it, your kids will probably want to imitate you, and that's a really good thing. So let's put our hand on our heart if you want. You can close your eyes and just take a nice, slow, deep inhalation through your nose. You can hold it for a moment and then blow out through your mouth. And let's do that again. Your timeline. Take a nice, deep, slow inhalation through your nose. Filling your lungs with air. You can hold it for a few seconds and then release through your mouth. Again, I sometimes exaggerate my inhalations and exhalations so that when I'm doing it with children, because I work with kids of all ages and all abilities, it's a really good visual and auditory model. So let's do one more slow, deep breath in. And in a perfect world, I would do probably 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 slow, deep breaths, inhale and exhale. But today, 3 feels good to me. You can continue if you would like. Okay, so just for a general check-in, I encourage, whenever I do Zoom meetings with families, and on this call, I want to do a check-in. So I'm going to say, how's everybody doing? So on a scale from, I'm going to actually show you what I use to do a check-in. I'm going to share my screen.
Elle va partager.
Oh, hello. Wait, what happened? Uh-oh. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allô?
All right. Is that Pierre?
Allô?
Hello, can you hear us?
Allô? Mais
Hello, Emmanuel?
je crois que je suis dans le mauvais.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here. But can everybody see this little chart on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I use this. This is called the 1 to 5 scale. It's a tool to help children and adults and families check in with how they're doing. Because right now, during this pandemic, our energy, our mood, our thoughts, our feelings, behaviors, they're all over the place. And it's not only for our kids, it's us parents as well. So the first step in helping our kids and helping ourselves navigate is awareness. So we have to really take a step and be mindful, well, how am I actually feeling right now? And I'm fine with people vocalizing to participate. How many people feel like they're grounded versus how many people feel like they're sort of scattered in life in general during the past 2 months?
Definitely at the beginning scattered. I think now I'm adjusting a little bit more. It's kind of like getting used to the new normal lifestyle. We kind of need to get used to. So now, like the past week or two, it's been all right.
Okay.
But at the beginning, it was kind of like chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's expected because we haven't been prepped for this before. And something that's really important to recognize, our kids, regardless of their age, our kids pick up on our energy. So our parent energy cues the energy of everybody living in the house. And you might recognize that, oh yeah. So if we can get a hold of our own emotional grounding, we're going to help. It's going to have that trickle out effect. And I mean, if you think about it, when you're around people who bring you up, when you're around someone who's in a good mood, oftentimes, you feel good around them. If you can think of anybody in your life who is usually negative or in a bad mood or feeling, or, just the pessimist, you feel that energy. It's heavier, and we have to work hard to shield so that we don't take on another person's negative energy. And during this time, it's natural to have anxiety, increased worry, fear, all of that. That's what we're seeing, and we know that's happening. So if parents are able to recognize this first step of awareness, and if we can use tools to help ourselves as parents get grounded and feel calm, it doesn't mean that you're elated and happy and unrealistic. It just means that you know that you're safe and all is well. Right now in your household, things are safe and calm. Your kids are going to benefit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, great. So this chart in front of you is the 1 to 5 scale, and you can use anything. With younger kids, I'll make a bar, like a line, a bar graph, and then they'll help me color in. And so we have 4 main emotions, and they sort of rhyme: glad, sad, mad, and scared. Those are the big 4. And every other emotion that we feel fits in one of these houses. So you'll see on this sheet, there's a little house. So just for an example, I'm going to share, let's see if I can share. Here we go. I don't know if this is switching. Can you see those little houses right now?
No, it didn't switch.
Okay,
It's
let me
the
switch.
same thing.
Hold on. So I'm going to go to, one of the things that I've been practicing is my technology skills.
No problem.
This has been a learning curve for me, big time. Okay, do you see the 4 houses now?
Yes.
Excellent. So like under the sad house, we might have weepy or upset or down or blue. Can anybody chime in for some other emotions that would fall under the madhouse?
Maybe angry, frustrated, maybe.
Yeah, frustrated, angry, pissed off, temper tantrum. And then under the glad house, that could range from just being okay and fine to calm, peaceful, joyous, wonderful, loved, excited. It's all those comfortable, all those comfortable feelings fall in the glad house. And then in the scared house, we have worried, nervous, anxious, timid, frightened. Okay, so those are the big 4. And this is a great way to have a conversation with the family to just talk about, hey, on this coaching call, we were talking about there are 4 main houses and all of our emotions fall under one of these houses. The more we talk about our emotions when we're in a calm state, when our kids are not having a meltdown, we are going to have more success in teaching emotional language and and emotional regulation and resilience to our children. Luna, come here. Sorry, come here. So the big four, that's a great concept to really talk to any age child, starting at 2-3 years old, all the way up. So now if I share with you how to use this check-in scale for the, the check-in scale for the 1 to 5 scale. Here we go. And you can create this to look any way you want. It does not have to be these people. With older kids, I ask them draw 4 people, and this is a really great tool to first practice with yourself, and if you have a partner at home, just as a check-in. The more parents use tools with each other in crosstalk, the kids are going to recognize that that's a valid tool to use, and it can be very calming. And we want to use tools when we don't need them. So not during a major meltdown or a tantrum, but when things are relatively calm. So here, I would say for myself, I'll give you a check-in for myself. Right now, I am feeling, let's see, I'm feeling calm. Probably like a level, like 3.5, I'm calm. That was much lower before I got onto the Zoom call because I wasn't sure if my connection was working. So, and I'm also feeling, I'm feeling calm, and I'm also feeling hopeful and excited. Because, and about, if I have to rate that, I'd say that's pretty high. I'm like a 5 because I love sharing tools with parents and families. So this is my check-in right now. Now, I do have probably a level of it's just like an underlying level of anxiety, if I can spell. And that's pretty much a consistent just with everything that's going on. So it's probably hovering, just like around a 1. So this is the 1 to 5 scale. And as I said, you can do a bar graph, where the kids would just do it like this, with 5 spaces here, and you can show them how much of an emotion, how much of a feeling are you feeling, and then they color it in. So this is an example of a tool that I highly encourage families to use with the family. It's great to do before or after dinner or in the morning. Let's all check in together. How are you feeling? You don't even have to use a visual, but visuals can help solidify the understanding that it's okay to have mixed feelings. All of our feelings are okay. And oftentimes with the kids that I work with, they, sometimes kids think that it's not okay to feel mad or, angry or sad or scared. And all of our feelings are okay. And this is a really great time to teach our kids, you know what? There's going to be the good and the bad. And together, we are safe, and this is an opportunity to learn how to identify our emotions and express them safely and productively. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts that they want to share about emotions in general in their family or with their kids? Okay.
Georgia here, I appreciate what you're saying about the idea that the emotions are okay, because I know growing up, I just got that feeling that they weren't. So, being able to teach our kids different is very important, and I think will, change the cycle. So
yeah, it really is, because a lot of parents that I work with, grew up also, it's really not okay. We always need to be happy, and a lot of kids that I work with, they only want to go to the glad house, and it's really hard for them to talk about and to acknowledge that they have some, less than happy feelings. And especially during this time, this is the time now to really make it okay. So what I've been hearing from parents, like the two biggest concerns lately, I'm hearing that it's hard for parents to be patient and also to deal with tantrums and power struggles. Any other big concerns that you guys as parents are facing? Okay. So there are two other tools I want to share with you. But before I share that, what helps kids in order to change behavior? So if a child is just used to crying and tantruming or being controlling, because oftentimes kids will try to control anything that they can, whether it's their food. I work with a lot of picky eaters, that they are trying to control that part of their life, what goes in their mouth. But it might be that a child will get very upset if they don't win a game, if you're playing a family, if you have game night. And this, again, being at home, parents are, because we're social distancing, parents and siblings and families, you guys are the social role models for your kids right now. If they're fortunate enough to be on a Zoom social group, that's fabulous. But right now in the house, we have a plethora of opportunity to demonstrate how to handle situations. And as you all know, and we know as adults, new learning takes time. It's not a quick fix, and we don't learn anything just like this, right? Think about riding a bike. We learn how to ride. We're gonna have a few falling off episodes and bruised knee, scraped knees, and bumps and falls. So just like learning new tools as parents, we'll be on the path and we might slip or fall off. And I just want to share that during this time, this is the time now more than ever for parents to give yourself some grace, because no one's perfect. No child, no adult. There's no such thing as perfection. We just want to keep gaining skills to build on what we already have. So it's okay. And again, the first step is awareness. So if you catch yourself, yelling and you didn't want to yell, take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, whoops. And it's okay to admit to our children, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell. I'm working on staying calm, but I'm feeling really frustrated. I'm like a number 5 of anxious, frustrated. So I need to do some things to calm myself down so I can be calm and talk in an inside voice. So a way to help kids recondition or create new neural pathways in our brain, because when we do things over and over, we have these neural pathways of behavior that are sort of ingrained. And if you picture water running down a mountain, it creates crevices, right? And it creates it carves out a little path in the mountain, in the hill, in the dirt. And so behaviors that we're used to doing are sort of like that. They just happen without much thinking. So we want to do some rewiring. And one way that we can help our children rewire behaviors is to catch them being good. And I air quote being good because I don't really like that word, being good. But what I really mean is catch them doing the behaviors that are helpful, that are kind, that are expected, that are wanted. And if you can point out, wow, wow, Nathaniel, thanks so much for clearing everybody's dishes. That is such a big help to bring the dishes to the sink. Or thanks so much, Joe, for putting your clothes in the hamper this morning. I felt so happy when I walked in the bathroom and there were no clothes on the floor. Anything you can verbally acknowledge to your child, a specific behavior that you like, that you want more of, that you're pleased with, we want them to hear it. Because our kids need to hear the positives like 4 times as many times as the negatives to reroute these neural pathways. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 more tools that I want to share with you. One is called the fire breathing dragon tool. And that, if you can picture this glorious big dragon that blows fire out, and we want to blow out anger. And I'm going to pull up a handout to show you that. And what I have found is pairing the fire breathing dragon with the magic mustache tool works really well, because the magic mustache tool is based on a meridian point. It's an acupressure point on our face. Right here, it's under your nose, above your lip. And if you just put your finger here, like if I might just be sitting like this, and you might not know, I'm actually activating my parasympathetic and my sympathetic nervous system to help my nervous system calm. So if you want to do it right now, you just extend your finger, curve it, and with moderate pressure, just press above your top lip. And if you just press there for a few minutes, take some nice inhalations, that will calm your nervous system. So I used to do this when I was in traffic. Now I do it often throughout the day when I'm working from home. So does anybody, can you feel anything just from taking some deep breaths and pressing right there? And again, this is a meridian point. It's used in tapping. I don't know if anyone's familiar with emotional freedom technique, EFT. You can Google that. There's a lot of great research on this tapping. It's tapping on meridian points on our face and like neck. To really, it's used for lots of different things, but reducing anxiety around specific issues. That could be a whole nother talk, EFT. In any case, we developed the magic mustache tool because it's very easy to teach. You do not have to buy anything, and it's with you all the time because your body is with you. So that's a simple relaxation tool for the nervous system and the sensory system. Pairing that with the fire breathing dragon. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let me pull this up. Here we go. Okay, so the fire breathing dragon, oops, sorry guys, let me get this off and this on. Okay, and I think you might hear Luna in the background, so I'm gonna let her out of my office while I pull this up. Okay, can you see the fire breathing dragon?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a tool to move energy, angry energy, out of the body. And let me just get here. And again, this is a fun for younger kids, like for my elementary age kids. You know, if you can see what's written on these little cutouts, the word disappointment, frustration, jealousy, helplessness, mean people, fear. So these are emotions that don't feel good. We can put, you know, anxiety, you know, scary monsters, anything that makes your child mad. It might be brother or sister taking toys or not sharing or fighting. So we want to blow, this is just a game, and you can use this with a cotton ball and a straw to blow energy out. There's lots of different ways you can use this tool, but ultimately it's blowing the anger out of your body. So if you have a little bit of anger, it's a little breath. If it's a medium amount of anger, it's a bigger breath. And if it's a lot of anger, it's and doing this, teaching this to your children can help them recognize when they feel mad, they can blow this anger away until their body feels slightly more calm. Because anger is a very natural emotion, and everybody gets angry at some times. And it's important that we teach children, how do we safely and appropriately express and release anger? Because when we don't express anger, it pops up at unwanted and unexpected times. Parents, are you seeing that with your kids? Are you noticing emotions just either being volatile or unexpected times that emotions are popping up? A little bit? No?
Yes, definitely. Just kind of random. And I attribute it to the quarantine.
Yeah, yeah. So if we start talking about these big emotions, we name them. I've got this from Dr. Daniel Siegel. You know, we want to name it to tame it. So it's okay to say, oh, I see you are so mad. You have a lot of anger. I see your eyebrows are going in. Your lips are clenched tight. Your face is squinched up. Your hands are in a fist. Like, if you can verbalize what anger looks like in your child's body, that's putting words and an image to them. And it's also validating, like, it's okay. You are feeling anger. You are safe. And I see you are very angry. And sometimes all we need is to get validated for how we feel. We might not even need to problem solve. Sometimes just saying, I see you are so angry that you can't watch TV right now. I am sorry. I see you are really mad. I'm going to let you be mad. I'm going to let you have your feelings. And when you're ready for a hug, let me know. So we're just saying, you're verbalizing, you're putting this in perspective for this young child. Like, it's okay. You're mad. I'm going to let you be mad. If you need to go, you know, in your room and hug your teddy bear or bang on your pillow, you can do that to move it out. You could also breathe like a dragon and blow it out. And when you're ready, I'm here for a hug, because those hugs, deep compression, deep pressure is also very calming for the sensory system. So
Good, pretty good.
yeah.
Good. I understand you're just about ready to take your certification.
Yes. Yep.
That's pretty
Okay, I don't think that's for me. Okay, so this fire breathing dragon can be a very helpful tool. And if we pair it with, now I'm going to just show you a picture of the magic mustache tool. Let's see, yep. Oh, hold on. All right, I'm going to move away the fire breathing dragon and pull up the magic mustache tool for you to just get the position. Okay, here we go. All right, so can you see the magic mustache tool?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we talked about the spot, this meridian point, this pressure point. We can hold it for as long as we need to. After a few seconds and a few slow, deep breaths through my nose, I will feel calmer. So it's very simple. And if anybody wants one of these handouts, I'm happy to share it with you. You can email me. And there are some activities, but I just want to show you so you see this image of where the pressure point is. And then, you know, we have some activities for kids to do. The more we talk about our tools with our children, and explain to them we all have an invisible toolbox inside, and the more we learn about our tools, the more the happier we feel, the more in control we feel with our emotions.
Hey,
So,
Lauren.
yes.
This is Leanne.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, the trap I always fall into is thinking about working on something while the tantrum is happening,
Yeah.
while the uncomfortableness is going on.
Yeah.
And so it really takes a lot to, I guess, discipline myself to work on this when it's not an anxious moment, either for me or for the other person or for the other kid. We live with a 17-year-old, so, you know, how do you bring that up? So I just wonder if there's something about, as you're talking about, like adding this into your routine, or even, I know some kids right now, scheduling is great for them, and and then others are overscheduled. How would you think is a good way to like fit this into your daily so that you don't do it when it's explosive?
Yeah, and thank you so much for bringing that up, Leanne, because using this in the heat of the moment will not work. So it's super important to schedule it in as during a teachable moment. And what I have found has been helping many families is, especially for young ones, toddlers, elementary, middle school, even high school, quite honestly, having a visual schedule or a visual calendar. Though our older teens and tweens may resist and may, give you some slack for creating a schedule, kids need structure, and they really wind up thriving when there is this like kind and firm structure in place. Because when kids kind of rule the roost, and when kids are able to when parents enable kids to just make the rules for the family, though it's probably out of love and wanting the child to be happy and the parent wanting to please the child, it's really doing a disservice to the child, because it's not in their brain makeup as a child to have so much control. So creating a visual schedule or a calendar with simple times and structure for the day can be a real helpful tool for kids of all ages and for families. And then, Leanne, like carving out, like, let's say you're going to carve out a half hour to do, like, you could call it tool talk or family time or family fun time. You want to, maybe the child can help think of a name to call this. And you can say, I learned some things and I want to share them with us so we can have a family meeting together. But definitely carving out some time. What other parents have shared with me is in the morning has worked for them to just like kind of, start out in the morning with a regroup or just to set expectations and schedules for the day. So carving out a specific time to talk about a tool and getting the kids' input, like empowering the children. What would you like help with? What's frustrating for you? Mm-hmm. And, for parents to be vulnerable and to be flexible and to say, you know what, I want to hear if there's something that I'm doing that's making you not feel good or making you feel irritated. I want to know, because that's not what I want to do. I don't want to be nagging, right? I don't think we want our children to see us as nagging or being bleh. So, opening up a conversation when you have time, not when you're rushed, not when you have 5 minutes, but when I would say a minimum of a chunk of 20, 30 minutes that you can really listen. And that's another tool, being an active listener. So really just giving your child a safe space to share. And once you connect with them, I'm going off a little bit, Leanne, but because I think taking a step back, like to really, really genuinely connect with our children, where they have time to talk. And again, they might shut down, they might not be interested, but the more we invite them to connect and share with them, we're going to do this, once a week, we're going to have a family meeting where this is our time to connect. And younger kids will probably like it, especially if they have a job to do during your family meeting. Maybe one person's in charge of picking out a snack, and everybody gets the snack at that family meeting. And then, you can have a very short agenda of what you want to share or teach. But before teaching a tool, I would highly suggest figuring out a way to connect heart to heart with each of your children. Leanne, does that sort of answer?
Sorry. Yeah, that's great. And I love what you're saying about like some shared responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because I think also kids are feeling lack of control right now. Mm-hmm. And so giving them something to do sometimes diffuses the power struggle or gives them ownership of it in a different way.
Absolutely. And
yeah, thanks. That was helpful.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up power struggles again, because I know I mentioned it, but the first step in being able to deal with power struggles is recognizing that one's about to percolate, erupt. And the way you can recognize a power struggle is if you are starting to feel like, if you're starting to feel tense, annoyed, if curse words are, formulating in your head, you're feeling your buttons are being pushed. This is a sign that, you're getting into the environment is forming for a power struggle, and power struggles don't serve anybody. And it's our job as the adult to drop the rope so we don't get into the power struggle, because, it doesn't really get us. When parents are mindful, it does not get a mindful parent what they want. We want to build our children up so they can be these, light beings in the world, right? I think most of the parents that I talk with, they want their children to be happy, independent, functioning contributors in the world. And if we want that for our children, there are things that we can do to help pave the path for them. And getting into a power struggle, shaming them, blaming them, that's the opposite of what we want to do for our kids. So visual schedules are super helpful, and they can be really simple or more, creative and artistic. And also taking into account transition times, because that's another area that parents have been sharing with me, like getting their child from one activity onto the next. And prior to the pandemic, transition times were hard for many children. So just to think about, if transitioning is difficult, you can brainstorm with your child. How would it help you to, to end playtime and get upstairs and get ready for bed? Like, what can we do to make it fun? I had one parent create a story with her children, and then they wound up acting out this whole little play scenario. And I think it changes every night, but they're all acting and to get upstairs so that they brush their teeth, get in PJs, wash their face, get into bed for story time. So there's again, if we try to look for the silver lining during this time of chaos and just such uncertainty, increasing creativity to bond and connect with our kids and our families, that's just one positive. If we have the luxury to ground and calm ourselves as the parents, to create this for our children and our families. Katie, did you want to say something? I didn't know if there was a hand that was raised before.
Lauren, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I forget now what I was actually going to say, but I think your last point kind of resonated with me in that this time, that we've had, extra time that we've had, with our 4-year-old, I'm almost kind of getting anxiety now thinking about him transitioning back into the normal routine, because it's like you can just tell he's getting of course he's an only child, so he doesn't have any other kids to play with right now, so it's all us all the time, and he's just very attached, not in a bad way, but we're just spending a lot of time together. And then also, he's out, we've relaxed because he doesn't have to wake up early. We don't have to wake up, to get out of the house either. He's staying up later. So there's just things that are not sustainable for the long term once, you get back into a more rigorous routine. And so I've just kind of been thinking through that aspect of it as well. Should I start certain things, should I start to be putting more of a regimented routine back in place in anticipation that this isn't going to go on forever, although sometimes it feels like it is.
Right. Yeah. And this is such an important point, Katie. Thank you for sharing. It is helpful to, not that you have to implement a regimented routine, but to start to get a little bit of a routine in place. And to talk about one day we will go back to daycare or school or the park. We don't know when. And, for young developing brains, it's more challenging to figure out, what feels right to share. And we don't want to overshare. However, starting to put in a little bit of a routine is really smart. And I was on a call last week with one of my colleagues, and I thought this was brilliant. And I said, oh, I'm going to share this on, next Tuesday when I talk. Her name is Susheta Kamath, and she's also a speech pathologist and an executive functions specialist. And she was sharing, and she was encouraging her families to, during the day, that because one of the issues are like parents are feeling, like short order cooks, besides managing all of the household items with, kids and families, then now it's like making breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whereas kids used to be out at school, right? They would have breakfast on the run, and then school lunch is at school lunch, and then they come back for dinner. But now it's like, it's just a lot of cooking or meal prep. So she said, her idea was, no. Parents should not be creating this elaborate lunchtime, like if you're gonna have breakfast together and dinner together. Instead, have your children help prepare their lunch like the night before, put it in a brown paper bag or their lunchbox, and then they can have their lunch like a school lunch. And I thought, especially for parents who might do some other work at home or just have more errands or chores or what have you during the day and don't have as much time. I don't think anybody feels like they have a lot of time lately. For that to be something to put into the schedule, like, okay, we're going to make lunch and put it in the fridge. And then during lunchtime, like your 4-year-old could go to the fridge and take out his lunch and sit down. They can make a placemat for themselves. This is such a great time to teach. We put a napkin down, a plate, we get our lunch, and we're teaching life skills. So anyway, creating a schedule, Katie, with some basic things that would carry over, and like preparing lunch, even if it's like you're making the lunch and he's just putting it in a bag or in a bento box or in a lunch box, or just on a special Tupperware that goes on the shelf that he could then take down. I think is helpful. And that leads me into thinking also, like, just with bedtime and early and waking up time, because I know so many families, like, kids are sleeping later if they don't have Zoom calls to get on, and staying up much later. And so I have a 7-year-old that was not personally, but I have a client who was sharing, like, her 7-year-old was thinking that 11 o'clock was his bedtime. And we know that that's not going to be sustainable. So start backing it up. Again, we want to do this with grace and self-love, because we parents know it's not easy to make changes like that. So really thinking it through, what's the best way to make a change so that you can gradually have more of a consistent routine that's going to be helpful when life shifts and there's going to be more separation time. And I'm happy to recommend, a few books, because reading stories with kids helps them imagine and see, be a part of the stories that can really help children adapt and just envision when things change or how they might change, or how they're different in stories, and then they can help apply that to themselves. So family meetings, I think, are a great thing to start implementing, because that can also carry over once kids go back to school. Well, we're still going to have our family meeting. We want to talk about what's going to be the same and what's going to be different. That could also be a helpful conversation when we're getting closer to the point of re-emerging into more public school scenarios.
That's helpful. Thanks, Lauren.
Sure. And one more tool I want to share. Well, in addition to the reminder for parents, if you can be gentle and give yourself grace, again, you are modeling this for your children. So not to be so hard on yourselves. And this is my last tool tip. This is a little book that I got many years ago. It's like falling apart, but I got it off of Amazon. And it's a little book by Louise Hay. It's 365 Daily Affirmations. It's called Power Thoughts. You don't need to buy the book. you can just, with your children, make a list. And if they're older, they can make a list themselves. You can all make your own lists for older kids, for younger kids. You know, you sit down with markers and paper, and we want to just think about a positive statement about how you want to be or how you want to feel. That's an affirmation. So it could be as simple as, I love myself. I am brave. I am courageous. I am kind. And I'd like to end by maybe all of us just saying one affirmation, and then I can read one from the book. But starting your day out with an affirmation and ending your day. So like maybe at nighttime, if you have story time with your kids, you know, maybe you can create a tradition and you say one affirmation. You can all repeat the same one or make up different ones. There's so many things you could do with affirmations, but this also rewires our neural networks for positivity and for health and for well-being. And a positive mindset and a compassionate mindset, it can do wonders. So what do you guys think? Could we all unmute ourselves and just say an affirmation? Because the more you practice this before teaching it to your kids, the more comfortable you get with it, the easier it's going to be to share it with your kids and for them to really see the value in it. Anybody? All right. Anybody
Understanding.
I am understanding. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Beautiful. I am understanding. Yeah. Love it. Anybody else want to share?
I don't have kids, but when I get out the bed every morning, I say thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And this is good. All of this is good for you, even if you don't have children. And for whoever was it, Peg, who works with foster families, teaching this to the foster parents to then teach to the foster children. This is huge. And many years ago, when I was in New Jersey, I had a foster child. And so my heart goes out to those families. In any case, but affirmations can really, again, going to bed, saying an affirmation, thank you, I love you, I love myself.
I'm gonna say I'm resourcul.
I'm resourceful. I love it. We need to.
Yes,
that's a good
you
one.
are.
Thank you.
All right. So can someone just give me a number? Tell me a number between 1 and 365, because I'm going to open up to that page in the book.
17.
Thank you, 17. And so what I would typically do is I would read it. It says, I have many dreams and I know that I deserve to have these dreams come true. And if I was doing this with a family or with a spouse or with anyone, I would say it and then I would have the other person repeat it. The more we speak it, write it, hear it, the stronger the message goes to all of our cells. And we're all made up of energy. And so our thoughts are really powerful. So I hope that you all got some helpful tools to take home. And please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm really here to serve and to support. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you so much. This was very helpful. I got some good notes about some tools to start teaching my 3-year-old.
Oh, good, good. Well, and if you have any questions, you have my contact information, so feel free to reach out.
Yeah, Lauren, I want to thank you so much. I think, I want to thank everybody who showed up, because you have taken this 1 hour, though it was about maybe how, it's about your kids, but it's about you. And so we do a whole course on compassionate integrity training, which we're hoping to do hopefully with Lauren sometime this summer. And a lot of the things we teach in compassion integrity training are the same things that kids will learn. It's about rewiring your brain. It's about figuring out when you're about to explode, how to bring yourself back, breathing, the dragon, the mustache. I'm going to start using that. People might think, what are you doing? But thank you for your wisdom. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who took time to be on the call. Stay in touch with Compassionate Atlanta. You've also got Lauren's information if you want to reach out to her. And I wish you a peaceful night at home with your families.
Yes, sending you all positive energy on this journey that we're all on.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.